The question from May 2012, IPCC question number 7B. Let us understand this question. Explain the important ratios that would be used in each of the following situations. So we have been provided with a set of the situations, and the question says that which ratios would be used. First, a bank is approached by a company for a loan of 50 lakhs. Highlight the portion for working capital. So let us say that we are a bank and we have been approached by one of our client, and that client wants the working capital loan. Then in that case, which ratio we would like to check? That is a question. We can say that we would be mostly checking the liquidity ratios. Why? Because it is about the working capital loan. Let us read the answer. Answer for the first question, liquidity ratios. Here the liquidity or short-term solvency ratios would be used by the bank to check the ability of the company to pay short-term liabilities. A bank may use current ratio, quick ratio to judge the short-term solvency of the firm. That is the answer. Second question, a long-term creditor. See, the word over here which they have used is very clear. Long-term creditor is interested in determining whether his claim is adequately secured or not. So we understand that since it is the long-term creditor, so it would like to check the capital structure ratios. So here you can see that the answer is the capital structure ratios or leverage ratios. If you remember that we made the computation of the debt equity ratio, in which when it was long-term debt to equity ratio, it was given a name as the financial leverage ratio. Dear students, I have not explained those ratios in detail in terms of the evaluation, that higher the ratio is better or lower the ratio is better from the company point of view. That is yet to be understood, because that is a point which is connected with our concept of the cost of capital, with the concept of the capital structure theories. At the same time, I have not explained you the concept of return on capital employed, return on investment, return on asset. Again, the reason is that those are connected concepts. Right now, we can only say that if at all we want to evaluate from, that is the lender point of view, then of course lower the ratio is better. If at all I have to give loan to somebody, then in that case, if at all that company has already raised too much debt financing, then in that case, of course, it is not a good sign for me to give loan to that company. Here the long-term creditor would use the capital structure or leverage ratios to ensure that the long-term stability and the structure of the firm. A long-term creditor interested in determining whether his claim is adequately secured may use DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, and interest coverage ratio too. Okay. Next, a shareholder means an investor who is examining his portfolio and who is to decide whether he should hold or he should sell his holding in the company. So we are required to decide that from an investor point of view, he is required to decide that whether the shares in which I have made investment is correct or not. Then we can say that he can evaluate the profitability ratios of the company, and with that he can judge that whether he has made proper investment or not. So over here you can see that the answer is the profitability ratios. The shareholder would use the profitability ratios to measure the profitability or operational efficiency of the firm to see the final result of a business operation. A shareholder may use return on equity, earning per share, dividend per share. So these things are required to be calculated, so from the investor point of view. Next, a finance manager is interested to know the effectiveness with which a firm uses its available resources. So answer of this question is the activity ratios. Activity ratios are: one, debtors turnover ratio; second, stock turnover ratio; third, creditors turnover ratio; total, that is the, we understand that's the total asset turnover ratio, fixed asset turnover ratio. So it is measuring that how effectively you are using the investment that you made in the business. The finance manager would use these ratios to evaluate the efficiency with which the firm manages and utilizes the assets. Some important ratios are capital turnover ratio, current and the fixed asset turnover ratio, stock turnover ratio, creditors turnover ratio, and debtors turnover ratio. This is the way we are required to answer the question. Dear students, this is a very good question in my opinion. This is my personal opinion. Let's say this is a very good question wherein, so you have a good application of the ratios. There is a situation provided to us and we have to decide that which ratio will be applied in this ratio for the purpose of reaching to a judgment that what we should do. Because basically whatever we are doing is we are doing with a purpose. So how far our purpose will be resolved, that we will be able to know by using these ratios.